Have you ever been around someone whose very presence seems to drain your energy, twist your emotions, and leave nothing but confusion and chaos behind? It's unsettling, isn't it? The truth is, evil doesn't only belong in myths, legends, or Hollywood movies. It exists in the real world, and often in the most unexpected places. What makes it even more disturbing is that it usually doesn't appear in obvious ways. It hides in plain sight, operating subtly, quietly, and deceptively. But here's the encouraging part. With just a little awareness, you can start to notice the signs and protect yourself. Evil people don't walk around with horns or tails. Instead, their true nature is revealed through their actions, through the way they manipulate, exploit, and slowly chip away at your kindness for their own benefit. The good news: you don't need to be a detective or a philosopher to recognize these traits. Once you learn to spot them, you'll see them more clearly than ever before. Ancient Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, left us timeless wisdom on how to guard our minds and hearts against these kinds of people. Their insights are not just ancient ideas, but practical tools we can use today. In this video, I'll walk you through 10 unmistakable signs that reveal you're dealing with someone whose intentions are harmful, signs you simply cannot afford to ignore. By understanding them, you'll be better equipped to maintain your peace, preserve your energy, and navigate life with greater clarity and confidence. So, are you ready? Let's begin. Number 1. Constant manipulation. The Stoic thinker Seneca once said, "He who has many fears also has many things to manipulate." These words are more than a reminder. They're a warning about how manipulation works when placed in the hands of someone with malicious intent. Such individuals don't thrive on honesty or integrity. They thrive on bending reality, twisting facts, and turning lies into powerful weapons. I remember working with a colleague I initially trusted. On the surface, he seemed supportive, always praising me in front of others, making me feel recognized and valued. But behind the scenes, he was weaving subtle stories, quietly undermining my work and magnifying the smallest mistakes until they looked enormous in the eyes of management. When I finally sensed something wasn't right and confronted him, he remained calm, insisting that he was only trying to help me improve. His words made me second-guess myself. Was I really doing something wrong? Slowly, doubt crept in, and I began to question my own abilities. That's the quiet danger of manipulation. It doesn't just confuse you, it eats away at your confidence. Manipulators don't build relationships on trust. Instead, they exploit vulnerabilities, feeding off your insecurities. They make you feel as though only they truly understand you, and only they can guide you. Stoic philosophy teaches that the key to resisting this trap is clarity and self-control. A virtuous person will always guide you toward independence, not push you deeper into dependency. If someone in your life constantly insists you follow their lead while ignoring your boundaries, it's a sign you need to step back. Remember epic wisdom: no man is free who is not master of himself. By refusing to play their game, you reclaim control over your thoughts, actions, and decisions. You don't need to argue or prove yourself. Simply step out of their web and hold on to your freedom. Number 2. A mask of charm. Epictetus also reminded us that appearances, no matter how dazzling, often concealed the truth beneath. Think about it. Have you ever met someone whose charm felt almost too perfect, like a performance straight out of a movie? Their radiant smile, their soothing words, the way they make you feel like the most important person in the room, it can feel magical. But when you pause and look closer, the illusion starts to crack, and you see that behind the charm lies something calculated, not genuine. Sincere charm is a beautiful thing. It builds connection, trust, and meaningful relationships. But when used with darker intentions, charm becomes a weapon. It's a carefully designed tool to disarm you, to lower your guard, and to make you believe you've finally found the perfect friend, partner, or mentor. Yet in truth, it's nothing more than a mask, hiding their real motives. Hollow, like a glossy shell concealing a bitter truth. That's how Marcus Aurelius might have described such individuals. He once reminded us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. These people aren't just skilled at manipulation. Their charm is nothing more than a polished disguise, hiding layers of selfishness, deceit, and control. If you really want to know who they are, don't just listen to their sweet words. Instead, observe how they act when nobody is watching. How do they treat those who cannot offer them anything in return? Words can be beautifully decorated, but actions are the true portrait of character. I once knew a friend who had an uncanny talent for making everyone feel adored. He seemed endlessly generous with his compliments, lifting people up and convincing them they were deeply valued. But over time, I began to notice something unsettling. His praise didn't feel genuine. It felt calculated, like a carefully crafted tool meant to extract something. And when he had taken all he could, he would suddenly vanish, distancing himself with cold indifference, sometimes even speaking poorly of the very same people he once flattered. So how do you escape this spell? The answer lies in listening to the quiet voice inside you. If you find yourself both charmed and uneasy at the same time, don't dismiss it. That gut feeling is often your greatest protector. These individuals rely on your willingness to overlook the small but persistent red flags, hoping you'll keep believing the illusion they've built. Yet Stoic philosophy teaches us something crucial. Truth never needs a mask. Real kindness shines effortlessly, without glitter or pretense. So, step past the polished surface and look for the substance beneath. Authentic goodness never hides. Number 3. Lies without conscience. Marcus Aurelius also advised, nothing should be done if it isn't right, and nothing should be said if it isn't true. But to a malicious person, truth isn't a guiding light, it's an obstacle. They don't lie by accident. They lie with precision, crafting every falsehood with intent, whether to gain power, escape responsibility, or distort your perception of reality. Imagine, for instance, a friend who consistently spins elaborate stories to boost their credibility. One day, she boasts that she single-handedly managed a crucial project, proudly claiming responsibility for its success. Yet, when you dig deeper, reading through the emails and documents, you discover the truth. The story doesn't add up. And when confronted, she doesn't admit fault. Instead, she deflects, insisting you misunderstood, or dragging your attention to irrelevant details. This is how skilled manipulators work. They twist reality so subtly that you begin to question yourself. Did you remember it wrong? Did you miss something? In time, their lies don't just confuse you, they weaken your confidence and erode your trust in your own judgment. Their deceit is carefully layered, one falsehood stacked upon another, each lie requiring more maintenance to cover the cracks of the old ones. But here's the weakness. Truth needs no upkeep, while lies are fragile, forever at risk of unraveling. 2. Protect yourself. Pay close attention to inconsistencies. Do their stories change when pressed? Do their actions align with their words? Stoic philosophy reminds us that a person's deeds speak louder than any claim they make. So, trust what you see, not what you're told. Ask questions, demand clarity, and most importantly, set boundaries. Honesty is the foundation of all genuine relationships, a mirror that reflects true integrity. And when dishonesty becomes a pattern, don't hesitate to walk away. After all, Stoicism teaches that real strength comes from mastering ourselves and cutting ties with what undermines our peace and values. So the next time you encounter someone who lies without conscience, stand firm, focus on their actions, guard your clarity, and don't let yourself be pulled into their fragile web of deceit. Think about it: your happiness, your struggles, your pain, none of it matters to them, unless it somehow fits into their personal agenda. A lack of empathy isn't just a small flaw. It's like a glaring window into a hollow soul. Imagine sitting across from a friend, pouring your heart out about a burden that's been weighing you down. You hope for comfort, or at least a listening ear. Instead, they cut you off. Oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you about my day. In an instant, your vulnerability is dismissed as unimportant, brushed aside like it meant nothing. And the sad truth: this isn't just a one-time slip, it's a pattern. These individuals are either unwilling or worse, incapable of stepping outside their own narrow interests to truly connect with your experience. Their detachment shows up as cold indifference, and sometimes, in a darker twist, even a subtle satisfaction in your misfortunes. Where empathy should live, there is only an empty void. But empathy isn't optional, it's the cornerstone of meaningful human connection. Without it, relationships become hollow transactions, one-sided, draining, and devoid of genuine care. Malicious individuals exploit this absence. They may feign compassion when it serves their purpose, wearing the mask of kindness just long enough to get what they want. But the moment their disguise slips, the truth becomes painfully clear. Their apathy runs deep. Marcus Aurelius once advised, "No more arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." His words remind us that real virtue lies in action, not in words or appearances. So what should you do when confronted with someone's chilling indifference? First, protect your peace. Set firm boundaries. and never allow their coldness to make you question your worth. Choose relationships built on mutual respect and understanding that lift you up in joy and stand with you in sorrow. Because true bonds are rooted in empathy, not exploitation. And before we continue, a quick reminder: if you find value in what you're learning here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Mind of Stoic, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss future insights. If this resonates with you, drop a comment saying, "I see the signs." Let's keep learning together. Number 5. The hunger for control. For an evil person, control isn't just a habit, it's their lifeline. They crave domination over everything around them: your relationships, your decisions, even your very thoughts. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Your mind is under your control, not external circumstances." Realizing this truth is the key to strength. But malicious individuals know it too, and that's why they try to strip it from you. They understand that if they can control your mind, they can control your entire life. I once knew someone who at first glance seemed trustworthy. Their advice sounded thoughtful, even supportive. But as time passed, I began noticing a troubling pattern. Their words, though gentle, carried an undertone that subtly undermined me. They planted seeds of doubt in my decisions, making me feel incapable, as if I needed their guidance to avoid failure. I'll never forget when I considered joining an important project. Instead of encouragement, they convinced me I wasn't capable, persuading me to step aside and let them take the lead. At the time, I complied because they had made me doubt my own judgment. Looking back, it's painfully clear they didn't want to help me. They wanted to keep me small, dependent, and under their control. And this is their true aim: not just to influence your actions, but to dominate your thoughts and emotions. They wield guilt, shame, or even sweet words like weapons, ensuring you remain tethered to their influence. Over time, when trapped in their grasp, you begin to doubt yourself, your abilities, your worth, even your right to make independent choices. Slowly, your freedom erodes. Epictetus once reminded us that freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and that freedom comes from refusing to be controlled by what lies beyond our influence. Malicious individuals know this truth well. That's why they'll stop at nothing to cage your mind, to convince you that you cannot live without their guidance. But here's the reality: you don't have to play their game. You always have the right to say no, to step back, and to reclaim control over your own life. A simple question can serve as your compass. Does this align with my values? If the answer is no, then you already know the path you must take. Autonomy is the greatest power you possess, and it is not for anyone to steal from you. Marcus Aurelius taught that the quality of our thoughts determines the happiness of our lives. If you allow someone else to shape your reality, to twist your thinking, or to make you question your worth, you surrender the very foundation of your peace. Protect your mind, it is the birthplace of freedom. Remember this: people who truly care about you will never try to control you. Instead, they will empower you, encouraging you to grow and make your own decisions, supporting you as you walk your unique path. So stand firm, guard your thoughts, and let your mind lead you toward the freedom you were meant to experience. Number 6. Blame games and deflection. Seneca wisely observed that people often prefer trust over judgment. And this is exactly what manipulators exploit. Instead of owning their mistakes, they skillfully weave stories that cast themselves as the eternal victim while shifting the blame onto others. It's a clever escape. By deflecting responsibility, they avoid consequences and leave you carrying the burden. Seneca also reminded us that truth stands firm without justification, while lies always require elaborate stories to sustain them. Think about that the next time you deal with someone who never admits when they're wrong. Imagine working on an important project with a close friend. When things begin to fall apart, instead of acknowledging her oversights, she turns to criticize your organizational style. The subtle way she frames it as, though offering constructive feedback, makes you question yourself. Was I really the problem? But after repeated experiences, the pattern becomes clear. These individuals excel at twisting reality until you feel guilty for mistakes that aren't yours. They manipulate emotions, leaning on your sensitivity and trust to spin a narrative where they are always the victim and you, somehow, are the villain. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that truth requires no embellishment, it stands on its own. So when faced with blame shifting, anchor yourself in facts. Stay calm, but firm. Ask questions, demand clarity, and don't let emotions dictate your response. By doing so, you not only avoid being pulled into their games, but also strengthen your own integrity. The best way to handle such people is to establish clear boundaries. Refuse to participate in their psychological tricks. Stand strong in your truth, and don't let them distort your reality. Remember, integrity and accountability are the hallmarks of true character. When someone consistently refuses responsibility, they reveal who they really are. Your task is to protect your peace and refuse to be drawn into their endless cycles of blame, whether subtle or obvious. This unhealthy delight in pain is a clear warning sign that you need to create distance. It often starts quietly, in ways that seem almost harmless at first. A sarcastic remark, a mocking laugh when someone stumbles, or that sly smirk of satisfaction at another person's failure. But as time passes, these small cracks expose their true nature. Such individuals don't rise by effort or talent, but by climbing on the broken backs of those they push down. I once knew a friend who seemed unusually eager to share the mistakes of others, almost with a strange enthusiasm. One day, she chuckled when a coworker was scolded in front of everyone. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just indifference. Yet with time, it became obvious. This was how she felt powerful. Instead of showing empathy or offering support, she magnified others' struggles as a way to make herself look superior. Seneca once observed that no one is more miserable than a person who never faces adversity. But for these individuals, adversity isn't a chance to grow, it's a weapon. Their joy doesn't come from achieving something meaningful, but from sabotaging, gossiping, or even intentionally harming others just to satisfy their fragile egos. At the root of this behavior lies deep insecurity. They need others to stumble so they can feel tall, but their fleeting satisfaction is only a mask hiding an empty core. This is why Stoic philosophy, and what we share here on Mind of Stoic, emphasizes protecting your self-worth and carefully choosing relationships that nurture growth. Pay attention to the warning signs: indifference to suffering, pleasure in others, pain, or constant fixation on failures. Each moment you stay near such people is a moment stolen from your peace and self-value. Instead, surround yourself with those who uplift you, those who cheer for your victories and support your growth. True joy is never built on the suffering of others, but on shared success and genuine connection. Human beings are not meant to live in solitude. We thrive within communities, in the warmth of authentic relationships, because that is where our true strength lies. If someone tries to convince you otherwise, don't be deceived. Protect your bonds with those who genuinely care, and you'll always find the resilience to rise above manipulation. This brings us to another subtle yet destructive trait: jealousy in disguise. Envy by itself is already a toxic emotion, but it becomes most dangerous when it wears the mask of concern or goodwill. Seneca once said that envy is the ulcer of the soul, slowly eating away at those who harbor it. When such individuals speak, their words may seem like encouragement, but their real purpose is often to chip away at your confidence. I once had a friend who seemed genuinely invested in my progress. After I completed a major project I was proud of, she said, "That's great, but maybe next time you should push yourself a bit more to really reach a higher standard." On the surface, it sounded like advice. Yet, hidden in her tone was a subtle cut, not to inspire me, but to diminish what I had accomplished. What looked like harmless feedback was, in truth, a way of making me feel as though my best would never be enough. This is how envy works. A jealous person rarely attacks you outright. Instead, they weave false compliments together with undermining remarks, planting small seeds of doubt. They might say, "You did really well, but don't get too excited, there's always room for improvement." Or, "That's amazing, but I heard someone else achieve something even better." These comments are not born from care. They are carefully crafted tools designed to pull you down to their level. Envious individuals cannot fully celebrate your light, because your success only reminds them of the shadows within themselves. They don't want to see you thrive. They want to see you shrink, so they no longer feel threatened. Stoic philosophy, as shared here on Mind of Stoic, teaches us to trust our intuition. If you sense something is off in someone's praise or advice, don't ignore that feeling. Deeper into the intention behind the words. A truly kind person will lift you up. They will praise you wholeheartedly, celebrate your achievements without reservation, and encourage you to go even further. By contrast, a jealous person uses carefully chosen words as weapons, aiming to control your emotions and erode your confidence. To protect yourself, set clear boundaries. Don't allow anyone to diminish your worth or dim your light. Surround yourself with those who not only celebrate your success, but inspire you to reach new heights. Remember, you are not meant to shrink to make others more comfortable. Stand firm in your value and let your light shine without apology. And as we continue, we reach an even clearer marker of malicious intent, one that reveals itself not through subtle words, but through the hardened state of an unrepentant heart. Think for a moment about someone you may have known, a person who always had an excuse for every mistake. When they hurt others, instead of offering an apology, they would shift the blame onto circumstances, or insist that others were just as guilty. Whenever someone tried to calmly explain how their behavior caused pain, they would deflect, accuse, or even argue that the other person was simply overreacting. But what truly defines them is not just the excuses, it's their complete refusal to change. To such individuals, self-reflection and the act of making amends are seen as weaknesses. They wear stubbornness like a badge of honor, mistaking rigidity for strength. Yet, this mindset stands in sharp contrast to Stoic philosophy. As we share here on Mind of Stoic, true courage lies in looking inward, admitting mistakes, and taking steps to grow. These are not signs of weakness, but of strength, dignity, and self-respect. Those with unrepentant hearts not only continue to harm others, but also deny themselves the opportunity for growth and maturity. If you find yourself close to someone who constantly justifies their actions, avoids accountability, and never seeks to repair the harm they've caused, pause and reflect. The truth is, not everyone is willing or even capable of change. Protect your peace. Invest your time and energy in relationships with people who lift you up, who have the courage to confront their flaws and strive to become better. Marcus Aurelius once reminded us, focus your mind on thoughts and people who elevate the quality of your life. So now we've walked through 10 clear signs that there may be an evil person lurking closer than you realize. Chilling, isn't it? But remember, awareness is your most powerful shield. Evil people can only manipulate you when you're blind to their tactics. Once you recognize their strategies, you reclaim your freedom, and you protect your inner peace from their chaos. Marcus Aurelius also taught that true strength lies in mastering your own mind and your reactions. Don't allow toxic individuals to invade your mental space or steal your serenity. Set boundaries, stand firm, and most importantly, keep shining. Because your light is exactly what they fear the most. If you found value in this video, hit the like button, subscribe to Mind of Stoic, and comment "I see the signs" to let the world know you are ready to protect yourself from negative influences. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where your wisdom will continue to grow.